Welcome to Objections with Stan Willis. I'm Michael Morris. C. Stanley is here on the ones and twos. What's going on, buddy?
I'm objecting today.
Sustained.
Hey, it's better than, Amber Heard's attorneys, right?
Can we just point this out? I'm so...
The best part of the trial is, so what did he tell you? He said, I object hearsay.
Yes.
But it's the question you ask.
You asked the question, sir. Oh, shiza.
Oh, yeah, I guess I did.
I think that
Continue.
was like the OJ trial, except funny. Like, everyone's watching it every day and talking about it, and at the end of the day, I think there's two things that stick out.
If you crapped in the bed, you must have quit.
Number one, that a Hollywood actress drops deuces, and when she's upset, and it also confirmed that women do take a dump. The other part was a mega pint.
A mega pint.
You drank a mega pint of wine. What is that even? What kind of measurement is that?
I don't know. I thought a pint was like 16 ounces, right?
I just thought he wasn't drinking out of the bottle.
Or 16. It's 16, right? A pint 16. A cup is 8 ounces. A pint is 16 ounces.
Not in Canada. It's
Right?
meters.
It's meters.
Yeah. A liter is a meter.
No, it's not.
I mean, I'm not the measurement guy. Nate is. He said 2 inches.
So, like, a cubic centimeter of water is 1 milliliter, and it weighs 1 gram at sea level.
How many grams did you buy in college to stay up late to study for exams?
None.
You're a good liar and a veteran attorney. My favorite part about the trial, though, as it ended, is Amber Heard immediately she knew she was losing. This sets back women's rights, and now it was almost like, what's that show called where the women are wearing the hoods and all that, like they're Amish? Handmaid's Tale. Every woman's going to be like that, and I can't wait because I'm tired of women wearing shoes. But Johnny Depp destroyed women's rights. He set it back 100 years. Just by winning a verdict that she lied about him.
Right. Well,
It's amazing.
Is that possible? I mean, I guess he did,
I have been trying on my
Johnny
own.
Depp is a powerful dude.
He is. The guy's a monster. He's 5'8", like 170 pounds. The guy's a monster.
He's a monster.
Can we talk about monsters?
Isn't she bigger than him? I mean, honestly.
In what way?
Like, he's 5'8".
They're the same size.
She's like 5'10", isn't she?
Yeah.
Is she tall?
Here's the thing. Now she's a 36-year-old single actress in Hollywood. All she can play is the grandmother part. You got to be in your 20s. You want to make some real money. She's broke, by the way. She had a negative $8 million bank account before this trial, and now she's never going to pay him.
He knows that.
That's not what this is about.
He doesn't need the money.
I just can't imagine her going on Jimmy Kimmel or one of those shows and them not bringing it up because, everyone that's in the audience is like, that girl shits. You know what I mean? But again, as I said, speaking of monsters, I want to talk about the FBI. Go fuck yourself. Number 2, Larry Nassar. The Olympic gymnasts are going to sue the FBI for what the FBI knew about Larry Nassar and the sexual abuse that was going on there. I bring that up because, is it a fun subject? Sure, it's the FBI. But we had a case here in Columbus that basically, I think that's kind of all settled with the doctor that was examining everyone for colon cancer in their 20s, and they were all fellas.
Wasn't that a negative verdict?
It was a negative.
Yeah, it was a negative verdict. They ruled in favor of the doctor on that one, right?
Well, he died by unaliving himself when all of this was coming out, this Dr. Strauss. But that's an example of
himself.
Well, I don't know what you're allowed to say on YouTube, but the guy liked to do hey nani do with his fingers to wrestlers. That's all I know. And people on the tennis team. But that was a 5-year window where this case was going on, and the guy had already died. So they were suing Ohio State.
Right.
So they already won the case against Nassar. Mm-hmm. But now they want to step it up and go after the FBI. And my question to you is, can we sue the FBI, and when can we start a case ourselves?
They have obviously sued the FBI, so you can sue the FBI. Whether you can do it successfully is another question.
But that is like, isn't that like suing a library? Like, you're not suing an agent, you're suing an organization.
As a general rule, the government has immunity from pretty much everything. So the government has to. There are certain areas in which various governments have permitted suits to happen. The state of Ohio, for instance, has a court called the Court of Claims. So if you have a lawsuit against the state of Ohio, and there are some areas that are constitutional areas where you're allowed to sue the government, but like for torts and things like that, if you think the government caused an accident or something like that, then you
9/11.
I'm thinking more like a state truck runs over you in an intersection.
Pearl Harbor.
So
things like that the government created.
If you want to sue, oh my gosh, if you want to sue the government, typically you have to do it in Ohio in the Court of Claims, which is like playing in their home court all the time. And there are a lot of restrictions on that, but it is possible you can sue the government in areas where the government has.
Is the FBI technically part of the government? Or are they their own regulatory thing?
They're an agency. They're an agency in the executive branch. So yes,
can you sue the CIA?
I mean, you could sue, but the question is not whether you can sue, because you can go down and file the suit. Anybody can. You can write up a complaint, go down and file it.
You heard it here first. Sue the United States.
So the question is will your lawsuit be successful, or will it be dismissed because of the government immunity? And that's I think that's the hurdle they're going to have to get through, because they're most likely going to face a motion to dismiss relatively quickly.
So what is the point of doing this? Just to I'm going to bring it up to see how far we can get along. Is this like an exploratory thing?
If the injury is egregious enough, courts typically will find a way to make an award. A lot of bad laws been created that way, where courts really they kind of have a result that they want to get to, and so they'll kind of shoehorn things to get a result that they
to make it go away. You mean? So like we're going to
either to make it go away or to make it happen. It can go either way, and a lot of that depends on what court are we in? What is the court's perception on? So I'm sure that they've shopped around and looked for courts that are likely to be sympathetic, at least at the appeals court level, are likely to be sympathetic to their cause.
Like Iraq, they wouldn't be for the FBI.
It's an interesting take. I was reading an article about this not too long ago, and it's an interesting argument, because they're saying that the FBI had knowledge of what this guy was doing, and yet allowed it to continue, like intentionally. Like
so, like roping more people to more, what I want to say, victims,
right?
To go after them.
It'll be interesting, because the FBI is long. They do this kind of thing. Police all over the country do this kind of thing all the time when they're doing an investigation, right? They'll send somebody out to. Maybe even infiltrate a group that's committing crimes, and they
like in Oklahoma City when they bombed the building in 1991, the day that Hillary Clinton, all the paperwork for Whitewater was supposed to come out.
Yeah, that was
things like that.
Interesting timing, but I'm thinking more like
a sting.
Like people who are selling drugs. They will observe a person selling drugs over and over and over again, because they're trying to investigate and get higher up in the organization, do other things like that. So arguably they allow crimes to continue. They watch them happen in order to finish their investigation, and that has typically been held to be okay. So in this case, where you have essentially what you have is you have victims of crime that happened during an investigation of that crime, in which what they're arguing is the FBI knew this was going to happen and let it happen to us, and therefore they're responsible. It's going to be interesting to watch how this plays out. I'll be surprised. I will personally be surprised if the case is allowed to continue, if it doesn't get dismissed.
I just thought it was odd that it was announced, like it's in on the internet, it's in the newspapers and all that. Almost like, again, as you always say, there's always a distraction out there.
Right.
It just felt like an odd. When you see $1 billion and you're going to sue the government, I would have told these ladies the government doesn't have any money. Yeah. It's in the Ukraine. Like you sued too late.
You're just going to print it.
I just think that if you entertain that, it's going to open something else. It's kind of like the Amber Heard thing, right? So as soon as that verdict comes down, 2 days later, Brad Pitt wants to sue and have a televised trial about a winery that they own that she sold her part when they got divorced to a Russian oligarch. I think we're opening up so many lawsuits, and it's not. I think it is more not to slander or libel anybody, but to go, this person's an asshole, and change public opinion.
Right.
And it just seems like we are so litigious that, first of all, you should be driving a car to paint it in gold once we get into like October, December this year, because everybody's suing everybody.
I just drive old cars.
Well, that's
not as old as yours, but you know.
I drive a classic car.
Mine at least were made in this millennium.
Can I just say this? If I wait another 6 years, that car, that Mazda Tribute, I can enter that into the Mecum auto auction. I'd probably get $450,000. I bought it for $3,800.
Cents?
No, listen. Once that thing hits 25 years or 400,000 miles, people are going to want that.
You can see the road from inside the car through the floorboard.
Here's how I'm fortunate. The strut tower back there came loose, so as I'm driving, I'm never bored because I'm waiting on that wheel to fall off. So I just get everywhere early in case I break down. I can do my meeting, and then I can wait until I get towed. I don't think you understand how I am a frugal individual, because as gas prices go up, I'm not putting any money in that car. So when it falls apart, I'm going to take the bus. Is there a bus route that could get me here?
I think there is, actually.
Because if there's not, I'm going to sue the government.
You have to come at like 8 in the morning.
I'm not getting here that early.
We're on a bus route, right, Kendra?
Yeah, it goes right there, and then you can walk, I'm sure.
Why am I driving here?
Oh, so you have to walk about a mile.
Whatever. It's better than $5 gas.
Be good for you to walk a little, actually.
I don't understand. Are you mocking my chunky frame? That seems unfair.
No,
I'm going to sue you and the FBI who's watching this show.
Remember, the truth is an absolute defense for libel and slander.
I'm completely fine with it.
It wouldn't hurt me to walk a mile either.
This is an audio portion. No one can see how slender I really am.
Oh, really?
Unless they're watching on YouTube. Which they should watch the show. By the way, we should plug the show while we're doing the show. Look up Objections with Stan Willis, and then subscribe to that, because every time you do, Stan smiles. No one has subscribed yet. I'm just saying.
Fair enough. That's right. That was good, Nate.
Every time you do, a divorce lawyer buys a Corvette. When you see cases like that, do you automatically go, oh my God, who the hell's going to represent them? Or do you go, man, I'd like to, like, would you have wanted to do a Johnny Depp type trial?
No.
I mean, you personally, not the firm.
But I personally have liked to do a Johnny Depp trial.
Something where,
I would not have. I would not have.
Like, you're representing the people that should win. Because I know someone that has done one of those, and again, it failed miserably, and spent 5 years doing it.
In my entire career, well, first of all, most cases don't go to trial. That case only went to trial because they're wealthy idiots who wanted it to go to trial. When I say idiots, they're wealthy people who wanted it to go to trial.
Wait, can Johnny Depp sue him for what he just said? You've been doing a legal show. You've been recording and editing it. Have you picked up nothing?
Strictly in my opinion. But the only reason that went to trial is because they wanted it to go to trial. And
who do you think wanted it? I think Johnny Depp wanted it all out. I don't think she did.
Maybe. I mean, she was the one making all the crazy statements, and I think he wanted it because ultimately, I think he was looking for revenge because it did cause. He did have. I mean, in what's lost in all the circus is that he did have damage because Disney revoked or Disney took away his contract for the
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean. So he was probably going to make another $30 or $40 million off of those. I mean, I think that's what the testimony was.
He got paid $20 million to not be. What's the movie? Fantastic Beasts and Where to Hump 'Em or whatever that's called. They replaced him, but it was still in his. Kendra, are you okay? Oh my god. That movie bombed, but $20 million went right away because it was already in. He already had a contract.
He already had a contract, right? But I guess my point is he actually had damage,
Right.
because she said that. Then Disney did what they did, which was within the bounds of what they were allowed to do because of their morality clause or whatever that they throw.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up.
But so he actually had damage. So I think from his perspective, I mean, he knew she didn't have any money. He just
Which is
wanted
kind of
to
funny.
clear up his good name.
Right. Like, I know he
Right.
doesn't care about the money, but can
Right.
you imagine you're like, you know that she doesn't even have like a debit card that works, and you're going to drag her through that because the lawyer's expense, and then you're going to lose the case, or you're going to have to, like, the judgment against you. He totally gets vindicated all the way around.
Right.
But I have a different question. So Ezra Miller, who actually was in, what's it called? Fantastic Breasts and whatever. He was in the movie that Johnny Depp was supposed
What is
to be
the
in.
movie he's actually trying to
What
talk
am I
about
saying?
here?
Fantastic Beasts. But there's another name, and the Hallowed Balls, whatever. The point being, he's in it, and he has multiple assault charges, like hitting women. So he's in the Flash movie coming up, and just now these parents have filed against him on some Indian reservation. First of all, who knows where we can find one of those, and we got to go there and get some peyote. But the girl was 13, and he's being accused of grooming her, giving her LSD, and all that. All that's coming out. He's worked for Disney and for Warner through the Flash movies and all that. At what point can you make that call? Because this is all alleged, right? Do you shelve these movies? How do you get that money? You can't sue somebody over a morals clause and get your money back.
And the stupid thing is the morals clauses get enforced. I mean, it just becomes a perfect example of this. Do you know who Trevor Bauer is?
Yes.
Yes.
We talked about this.
I mean,
like months ago.
I mean, Trevor Bauer has been kicked out of the league and is having to do all this stuff for having. I mean, he was acquitted of all the charges. He won his case. He was Johnny Depp. He was saying this was consensual.
He was a pirate.
This was above board. I was a pirate. And the league is still disciplining him under the morality clause. Yet you got all these guys that have repeated
You can
assault
beat up
charges.
your wife, but you can't have strange activity with a random girl in Cleveland.
And I think it just comes down to the higher the profile of the person, the more likely the entity is to take action. And I think it's strictly about public opinion. And
Do you think it's about money first, though?
oh well, it's always about money
So
first. I mean,
Trevor Bauer's gonna
why
get
would you
30
care
mil-
about public opinion if it didn't mean money for you?
Well, I'm just saying, if Trevor Bauer, I think, was going to get $31 million a year versus a guy that commits domestic violence and he makes $6 million.
Right.
A guy that's an outfielder versus a pitcher or whatever.
Right.
I think that has more weight to it where the team's like, well, I don't want to pay him if he's going to miss
Right.
2 or 3 months. Let's just get him out of here.
Right.
I just find it odd that the people that own the Dodgers, that they said they have a moral issue with this. Magic Johnson was vetting 30 women a day while he was married to Cookie. I want to get a girlfriend or a wife that her name is Cookie or Brownie or something like that. But that guy's saying, I can't morally, that would be amazing. I can't morally let this guy pick up a check from me. That's the part I have a problem with. Or Hollywood studios going,
It's got nothing to do about morality. It's just the morality clause is a vague way of saying if I don't like something you do, I can
right.
get out of my contract with you.
Do you remember? I don't know if we talked about that. We talked about this with Ashley, a guy named Arnie Hammer. And so the guy was in the Lone Ranger.
Isn't that baking soda?
Yes, it's delicious if you put it in your... Anyway. This guy, they found text messages where he's texting some woman he had an affair with, where he was wanting to cut her body parts off. Like, not her full finger, just pieces of it, and eat it. Like he was a cannibal. There's no way you're joking about that kind of thing. I mean, I say that kind of stuff all the time because it's cool, but he is a Hollywood star. So instead of what Hollywood was trying to do was cut him out of movies they'd already made. So he still got paid. My question to you is, let's say you paid me to run commercials, and then you find out I'm killing half of the staff here. While you're probably happy about certain ones, wouldn't you say, I need to get my money back from this guy because he didn't fulfill the obligation of running the commercials? Can they do that?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think so, but cutting people, that's
Are you
kind of
thinking
disturbing.
of people here that we could murder?
No.
Okay, because you
no.
kind of drifted off.
No,
I got
thinking
5 on a list right now.
I'm thinking of somebody writing a letter. I didn't know about this Arnie Hammer thing.
He was texting. Why, or not texting, through Instagram. Why would you ever do that?
Why would you publicly on something that's being reported all
Someone
over
that you barely know?
That I want to cut parts of your body off.
Yes, he was like wanting to cut part of her toe off and then part of her finger, and he wanted to like cut her open and like suck her blood and things like that. And those are all very romantic things, but if you don't know this person and they're also not your wife, that's kind of a problem.
That's just nasty.
Which part? Instagram?
Yes.
This firm has an Instagram, and I send those kind of messages to it, and no one responds. Which tells me no one's paying attention to Instagram.
Thank God nobody's responding.
How great would it be if I just cut and paste the Arnie Hammer messages and just put them in their DMs? Kendra, do you answer those? Oh my God, that'd be amazing. I'm going to just start doing that. I know we've gotten off the path, and once again, you've done that.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the U.S.
Oh, we were talking about
the
whether
FBI.
or not the government could be sued.
I forgot to say, fuck the FBI. I just think
Simone Biles and such.
Yes,
because of Larry Nassar.
Well, that's why she had to quit in the Olympics.
Again, getting back to the topic, I think that they've got an uphill battle. I mean, it makes great headlines and all that kind of stuff, but I think they've got an uphill battle getting the government or getting past the motion to dismiss. I think it's going to be hard for them, just because I think that's all going to fall under immunity. I think that. You'd have to argue that the FBI somehow was being intentional, or that otherwise the FBI was itself inflicting the...
Why I think they're going to use it was for the greater good. It was to save other kids or adults from going through it. I don't think it's going to go to court either. I'm just saying I think they're going to say we have to allow these agencies to do their jobs, and many times they have to go to extremes, so you can't sue us because... we eventually brought him in.
Right. It's yeah. I mean, it's if you suspect that someone's a serial killer, but you can't prove
but you have to wait until he does it.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing about it. I mean, they suspect that somebody's a serial killer, but you can't just go arrest them because you suspect them.
I just think
otherwise you'd be in jail.
But I can't be in jail until my lawsuit against the CIA goes through.
So, yeah, I think they've got an uphill battle. I mean, I certainly sympathize with the position that they're in. I mean, but essentially what it comes down to is you got a really bad guy who was doing a really bad thing, and getting help from other people, which
he was getting referrals.
Yeah, which just strikes me as an odd thing. But when it comes down to it, I think that this is an uphill battle. I think that they probably will lose this. But who knows? I mean, stranger things have happened. I mean,
Also, a show that Ezra Miller and Johnny Depp aren't in. Stranger Things. There's a lot of things you could be watching instead of
my
this.
kids love that show.
Never seen it. Well, we've got one. No one's seen it. Your kids have seen it. He says it's great. Kendra, before we leave, she says no. Don't watch it because she was abused. Oh, she doesn't like it. Sorry.
Kendra's life is strange enough just to, throw that out.
I can't wait to read her journal when we get off the air. But that's going to be it for us today. Thank you for listening to Objections with Stan Willis. We'll see you next week.